Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is for you. I'm Cyclo, and this is Let's Play Train Simulator. So I've been doing some thinking about what scenario I should do next in our run of the default 6 scenarios that come with the Munich to Garmisch route. And by the way, I've changed my view, so you can actually see it by train now. So the other scenario trains are down here, the 5 for the ICE, 3 the 3M. You do that by clicking on this icon and then selecting the route from here, and you can type in what you want to search for. So I typed MUN and came up with Munich-Garmisch. So if you didn't know that trick, there you go. And it sorts it by train for you. So you get to see what you have for each train. You can plan accordingly. So, I've been going through these scenarios, and then if I stick with the idea of going by date, the next scenario would be the weekend of skiing ahead, which is this one, which is also a 3 difficulty. But this is the one that goes the entire length of the route. I think it's a better idea that we stick with going on some of the shorter scenarios to start out, and that way we can go ahead and examine the different parts of the route and get used to some other services on the route before we run the entire route. Now, what I don't know is where this scenario begins on the route. This could start at Tutzing for all I know. And if that's the case, then it's only half the route. So I don't actually know where that service begins, but it is still the longest scenario, and because of that, I do want to hold off on it, because I know it will take us to our terminus of the route, and I don't know if we have a lot of services that go down there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to a different tact today. And we already did the shortest scenario, which by chance also turned out to be a level 3 difficulty scenario, which means the rest of them are going to be longer no matter what I do. 50, 55, 60 minutes. So that's going to take me back to the date possibility. If I stay with the dates, the next one in order after our long service is Stormy Night, which is a 55-minute scenario, and it's the same idea. We're going to have some snow. But I want to go ahead and get this other snow scenario out of the way, because it's a stormy snow. Whereas this one is a clear day, but the tracks are icy, obviously, because there's snow. It's winter for skiing. So the other conditions you can see, this one is a cloudy day. This one is a cloudy day, and this one is also a cloudy day. So we're going to get the stormy one out of the way by the looks of it. This is supposedly the hardest scenario, and I'm a little nervous about doing this one as the second scenario, but we're going to give it a try. Let's see what happens here. So we're going to start with Stormy Night, 55-minute scenario. The heavens have opened. This is not going to be an easy shift. Take this BR426 EMU on a challenging run to Tutzing, which is, again, about half the route, because that's clearly right around the halfway point. In fact, if I review my notes here, which I'm going to bring up right now, the Tutzing station is located at the 39.6 mile post, or kilometer post, 39.6, and Garmisch-Partenkirchen is over at 100. So yeah, not a little over a third of the way, not quite halfway, a little over a third of the way. Depending where we start, it could be 2/3 of the way. Let's get in there and find out what we're dealing with here. Well, there's still people here. The forecast shows that this storm is not going to clear until the morning. The show must go on, though, so today you are in charge of a service to Tutzing. Please take care and look after the passengers. We best let the passengers on. They look drenched. Some of them seems like some of them forgot umbrellas this evening. Unfortunately, we don't operate a bringing service. If they don't check the forecast, that's kind of their fault. So here we go. Now you're going to notice the headlights are already on. The train started with the headlights on, so there they are again. Let's take a quick look outside, because this is, like I said, is the terminus, and it might have said in another point, is a terminus of the route. So if we were to head off in this direction, this is where the route ends, back here somewhere. We can't really see much in the dark, unfortunately, so we'll have to save that for daytime. So we're going to go ahead and check our itinerary. We have to stop pretty much at all the stations along the way here, and we have to be done this journey by, oh boy, 53 minutes. This will be fun. So let's put the reverser up. Let's get the brakes eased off a little bit. A little cricket sound means that we're good to get going, and I'm going to do exactly that. We are leaving Garmisch-Partenkirchen at a speed limit of 40 miles per hour. The signal ahead is, I think it actually does start red, but by the time you get to it, it is green. Interesting. So we are not going to exceed 40 kilometers per hour at this point, which I didn't want to stop at 27, so we're going to keep going. We can now go up to 50 as we cross the sign here. We've gone ahead and eased off the speed a little bit, so we just go up slowly. There's the 100. It seemed a little late, a little laggy in getting there, but the 100 is there. So our next stop is, our first stop is Farchant, which we have to be there in 3 minutes. Not very far up the line, is it? Only 5 kilometers away. So we're going to ease back on the throttle again as we approach 100. Because we are going to be under 100, we do have the decimals to work with here. So that's going to make our job a little easier in gauging where our throttle should be in terms of maintaining speed. I've cut it down to a 5 right now. We are coming to a downhill, so I'm going to actually put it down to a -1. Slight brake application, not where I want it to be. I wanted it at 0, but we're going to idle as best we can here. We are estimated to be well on time here, so we are in good shape so far. Oh, it got up to 0. There we go. And we are actually losing speed, so I'm going to put the throttle back on for a moment to make sure we don't lose too much time. Keeping in mind that we are coming up to the station at the bottom of this hill. Ease it off again a little bit. And we're going to figure out when we get to about a kilometer from the station, we're going to see what kind of braking situation we have to work with here. Let's ease off the throttle now because we are on the downhill. A 1 in 145 gradient, going to bring it down to 6%. We are losing speed, so I'm going to bump it back up to 10. And that'll do since we're slowing down anyway. Whoa! I crossed 100, so I want to be careful. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and start braking now. Going to ease off the brakes because I'm coming in very, very well on the brakes so far. So going to get a little closer. And now we'll reapply the brakes. We are doing well for our time right now, so I don't mind. So we're coming up on a 1/10 of a mile from the station. We're coming in going 48 right now, which is faster than you typically want to go into a platform, but we're able to handle it. So now we want to really hit those brakes because we are coming to the latter end of the platform. And I'm going to say that's a good enough spot for us, so we're going to stop here. Arrival at Farchant Station. Departing Oberau platform 2, or sorry, departing Farchant Station, getting it mixed up now. Departing Farchant Station, we are on our way next to Oberau platform 2. We are cleared to leave at 100 kilometers per hour. I'm going to keep doing that, by the way. I live in Canada and I know about kilometers here, but I'm used to driving miles on Train Simulator, so I'm going to keep doing that. 100 kilometers per hour. I'm not going to be able to pick out those whistle boards in this conditions. There's milepost 95. You can see the next station already coming into view up ahead. Not very long at all. So I've already eased off the throttle a little bit, but I'm actually going to go ahead and increase it again because, actually, no, we're super early. There's no reason for us to increase throttle. I'm going to leave it where it is. We're going to be dropping down to 60 anyway in a moment. I have a feeling that might be a 40. I'm going to speed check that as a 40. In the last scenario, I remember getting speed checked at a 40 instead of a 60, so that might be a trap for me. I'm going to start slowing down now because of that. This is modifying our arrival time greatly, as you can see. Let's see if it's a 60. We'll figure it out. I came down a little early to the 60, but we're going to find out if it actually is a 60 or if it's actually something else. I need to stop gaining above 60 again. That would help. It actually is a 60 this time. Okay, good. So we're going to come in, we're going to make our stop, and we're going to have more wet and weary passengers, probably bitter passengers on their way to Tutzing. I'm not sure why the brake sound is going. There's not much brakes here. So we are arriving now at Oberau. And now I need to really put those brakes on, so we're going to start doing that. I probably could have come in a little more before actually doing that because the passengers are up there. I'm going to go ahead and just go forward a little bit to at least save them some of the walk. And here we are. This will do for our stopping point and arrival at Oberau, platform 2, in a moment. There we go. No one has an umbrella here. I swear they don't have brains in this game. Okay, we're leaving the station Oberau Platform 2 at 60 miles per hour. Kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour. I did it again. If there was a tip jar for penalty jar for every time I did that. Now I did say 100 briefly there, but you know, if you may have noticed that, but the reason I said 60 is because I knew the 60 speed limit was coming up, and I knew we had to abide by that 60. So we are sticking by that. Our next stop is something I'm afraid to try saying. Eschenlohe. 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 And we have a little bit of time to get there, 5 minutes. So it won't be on our HUD anytime in the near future. We can go 100 again, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the throttle here. I did not have any kind of sign telling me we can go 100. So I don't know why that was. Missing speed markers. Gotta love them. Why is there a brake sound? I have the throttle on. Okay. That was the 90-kilometer mile post there. We have another 60 speed limit coming up. Or is it a 60? That remains to be seen. Since the 40 transfer lines are not marked here, we're supposed to somehow automatically know when we're taking them. And we're going to lower that again. There we go. We need to get down to 60 anyway, so we're going to start dropping in a little bit here. Just a little bit for right now. We're going to ease it off gently. Because we are doing really well for time right now. So easing off gently, then we're going to go ahead and crank it down to make it on time. So I'm down to 90 right now. I got about a kilometer to get down to 60. So I'll ease it back down a little bit right now. That's a pretty good rate of decline. I dropped 10 in about 1/1500ths of a kilometer there. So I'm going to go ahead and just let ourselves go a little more, knowing that we're having a good deceleration rate there. Going to lower it again now. So we're going to get down a little early, but that's just fine. Better not to be speeding. And there we go. A gentle slow down to 60. And we're going to get a 110 limit right before the station. Isn't that appropriate? So I can see now why this is one of the harder scenarios, because it's night. And night is always hard. I haven't figured out where the whistle boards are for those crossings yet. So knowing that we had a pretty good deceleration rate earlier, I'm going to go ahead and slow down about half a mile out. I think that's a good place to start doing that. Maybe a little less than that, because we can stop within the station as well. And let's go ahead and do that now. Not too much. I still want to come in at a good speed. We're going to go ahead and get our speed down to a reasonable number as we cross into the 110 here. Those crossings are loud. So we're down at 38. That's a good speed for coming into this kind of platform, knowing how the brakes operate here. I've seen trains come in a lot faster. There's the 11 to say we can go 110. We're not doing that yet. We're coming to a stop here. So Eschenlohe, platform 1 is where we are right now. Gonna pull up a little bit more to where the customers are waiting, and then I will stop. Doors open about 4 seconds early. Arrival at Eschenlohe, platform 1. Departing Eschenlohe, platform 1. We are leaving at a speed limit of 110 kilometers per hour. The other platform is under a 60, so we are in a much better shape on this platform. And we are on our way next to Ohlstadt. Ohlstadt. Platform 1, we are not very far away, 4 kilometers away. Which seems to be about the general length of distance between stops on this route. 4, 5, 6, 7 kilometers seems to be about the range. I might notice I'm not trying to call out any of the landmarks along the way here. It's hard enough just seeing the track that we're on, let alone trying to call out everything you can't see next to it. So we're not going to I'm not going to try to draw your attention to something you just don't see. We are on a downhill gradient, a 1 in 86. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep an eye on our speed here as we come down that gradient. I have a 7% brake application at this time, which is just helping hold our speed at 107. Dropping to 106, so I'm going to ease that brake application now. And I'm going to actually put a little speed back on because I noticed that we're still losing speed there. So there's the speed I'm looking for. Perfect. We're coming up on an uphill gradient. We're now on a 1 in 220 roughly. You can see we are approaching the station. I'm going to start braking just after this next signal. Actually, I take that back. This is probably a good time to start braking right here. So we're just going to ease a little bit of the speed off. I'm not going to take it off completely because I actually am getting a little braver with the platforms, coming in a little faster and coming to a stop in the platform. So I'm a little braver with that now on these platforms. But now I'm really starting to chance it. So we're going to start putting the speed off a little bit right now. As long as we're not coming in above 50, we are okay. Which means I need to put a little more off right now. There we go. So I should be good now for the stop. We're going to stop in front of this building here. I think that's the right place to stop. This is the platform terminus, so we need to stop by now. And I'm going to do that there. Arrival at Ohlstadt, platform 1. Departing Ohlstadt platform 1, we are immediately entering an 80 km/h speed limit. But soon after we get to the 80 km/h speed limit, we're going to be permitted to move to 120 km/h. This 120 km speed limit is going to be temporary, so we have to make sure we lower for another 80 km/h speed board in about 2 kilometers from this point. So we'll take advantage of what speed we can. We are going to be able to get to 120. I just don't know if we're going to be able to do it and then hit the brakes at the same time. So we'll take advantage of what speed we can here. And actually we are going to be able to hit the brakes because we only gained up to 120 in about half a kilometer here. So we did definitely get there, no problem. I'm going to ease it off immediately because I don't want a chance braking 120. That's easy to do in this section. And I'm going to go ahead and start easing it back. I'm going to actually ease off the brakes now because I am coming off a little quicker than I expected on that speed. There's the warning for the 80. So we probably could have waited till that warning. I'm just letting the speed come off naturally right now because we are coming up to a slight uphill gradient, which should help finish the job. But if I need to, I can put a quick burst of brakes on, which I'm going to do anyway. There we go. We are down to 80 in time, so I'm going to go ahead and put the throttle back on to maintain speed a little bit in this area. And then we're really going to have to apply the throttle because we are going to be on a 1 in 38 uphill gradient here. One of the steepest gradients you're going to find on British rail for sure. I don't know if this is the steepest on German rail, but I think it is the steepest on British rail. Now we have some kind of an orange mark on the track. I don't know what this is a reference to. In fact, you notice that nothing happened there, so I don't know if this is just a change in the weather or what exactly is happening here. But we are on that uphill gradient now. It is quickly coming down, and we are actually going to have to fiddle with the throttle a little bit now just to maintain speed. We are going to have to get down to 60 by the time we get to the top of the hill. So we're going to go ahead as we get to the top of the hill and let the uphill gradient actually help us brake a little bit towards the top of the hill, because it will bring our speed off quite nicely for the stop at Murnau. As you can see, we have almost a full minute to make this stop as well. So right now we are in good shape for our arrival time. I didn't do as well on an initial run, but, well. I was on time on initial run, but I was afraid I was going to be late. So you can see I have the throttle very well applied, and I'm already having trouble keeping speed going up. And I know I don't really want the speed going up. We want to get down to 60, and we're getting to the point now that we're about a kilometer out from that sign. That's lots of time to drop the speed, so I'm going to go ahead and lower the throttle down some more, about 3/4 of a mile out from that sign, just to see how that affects us. That's actually good enough, so I'm going to drop to 10% throttle. You can see the speed coming off quite nicely there. Actually a little too nicely, so I'm going to try to ease that drop a little bit. And we're going to level out on the gradient here, so I actually need to go ahead and take advantage of it now while I can. And I should be braking now anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just let the speed come off nicely at this point as we enter the platform. The ETA has started to move up a little bit, so naturally it's going to mean that that we are getting a little closer to our necessary time to stop. I'm going to go ahead and brake now that we have started the platform, that we have joined the platform. I'm going to try to stop at the overhead area up here. I believe that's the right place to stop. So right about here should be about the right place to stop. And as we slow down, we are going to arrive at Murnau Platform 1. Leaving Murnau, Gate 1, or Platform 1, we are heading next towards Uffing am Staffelsee, also Platform 1. We are 5.5 kilometers away from that, and we are leaving at a 60 km/h speed limit, and because we're already getting close to that, I'm going to go ahead and ease off on that quickly, so that we don't exceed that speed restriction. I'm actually going to hold here at 55 for a moment, because I've sometimes been surprised as I get close to the 110 with the... I sometimes get surprised at the end of these restrictions by seeing the speed suddenly jut up and down as it shouldn't in cases, and it really can cause a surprise on you if you're being scored on career scoring. On a standard stereo, you'll be like, oh, who cares? Anyway, we're going to go ahead and open the throttles now up to get up to 110 km/h. We have a 5-kilometer journey under that speed restriction. So I'm going to go ahead and ease up on the throttle now because we were at 105. I came off a little quicker than I thought. I want to get up to about 108, I believe. And I think that's a good place for me to seize increase right there. There was a crossing there. I've gone ahead and started not sounding the horns. I'm starting to realize it might not be appropriate with so many trains going across from to all blare their horns. The people in the nearby neighborhoods probably would not be pleased. So I'm assuming that we do not blow the horns at this time of night. I'm going to go ahead and increase the speed again slightly because I have dropped off a little bit below the speed limit here. As you may be aware, even though I seem to have a good ETA up there, I always am paranoid that DTG has some kind of weird flaw in their scenarios. And if that is the case, then I'm going to get surprised by something. So I'm going to start slowing down a little bit just before our next signal. And you can see it on the HUD coming up, but as a driver, I'm going to act like I don't see that signal yet. I'm going to act like I don't know it's coming up. I just know it's up ahead, and I'm just braking a little bit in preparation for that signal. Because I don't think waiting till the signal to brake is really the right point. Here is a signal right now. That's not actually the signal I had in mind. So I'm down to 90 kilometers per hour now. I'm going to hold here for a moment and wait to see if we see that next signal I'm expecting. Sure enough, there is the next green signal in the distance coming past right now. We're going to go ahead. I actually went above 90 again, so I'm going to put the brakes on a bit more here. We are entering a 140 kilometer per hour speed limit. Not that that matters right now. We're stopping here at Uffing am Staffelsee. And I'm coming in a lot faster than I expected, so I need to really apply those brakes to make sure we make our stop. I'm coming in the platform a lot quicker than I expected. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep those brakes on, and I'm going to come to a stop at whatever convenient location I can here, hopefully prior to the end of the platform. That was probably where we should have stopped, right here by the clock, by the building. We are still going to have part of the train by the building, so that should be okay. I might be slightly beyond it. I might have overshot it a little bit. I've gone ahead and increased the brakes slightly to make sure we stop. And I'm going to go ahead and ease it back now, and we're going to open the doors. Arrival. Not as well as we could have done at Uffing am Staffelsee. Platform 1. Departing Uffing am Staffelsee station, we are heading next to Huglfing, which is about 7 kilometers away from where we are. We have to be there in about 4 minutes, according to the timetable. But there's actually going to be a little bit of a timetable allowance I'll get to in just a second. We are under a 140 kilometer per hour speed limit. At the bottom of a downhill gradient that you see on the HUD at the bottom of the screen, you will notice that there will be a 100 kilometer per hour speed board coming into the frame in just a moment here. And there it comes right now. I'm going to go ahead and ease the throttle off a little bit because I'm getting close to 140. I don't want to necessarily get to 140 because we are going to be taking a downhill gradient here, and I'm going to have to slow down on that gradient for the 100 anyway. I'm going to start slowing down for that 100 about, I want to say about 0.8 of a kilometer away from the sign. We may get a warning for that before we actually cross that sign, across that point. I'm going to take the throttle off completely at this point. I'm going to just go ahead and try to idle as close as I can to a 0 here. And I seem to be gaining on the downhill, so I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to brake a little bit right now. And actually looking like that might be a good idea because we are not coming off as nicely as I expected. Actually, no, we are. We are coming off nicely because we're going to be down to 120 before we get to the halfway point there. That's good. We're in good shape for this slowdown, so we should be down in time. I can apply another burst of brakes if I need to get down there. But I think I'm going to be on time here, so this is good. Perfect. So I'm going to idle the throttle in here right now. Now, I'm going to watch for a sign indicating a different speed limit than what is posted. We have 140. We are going to cross into the 140 zone. That is without question. That is absolutely accurate. But I'm watching for another sign because there is actually a signal imposed speed limit before we reach Huglfing station. We are going to be required to drop down to 60 miles per hour, or 60 kilometers per hour. I did it again. So I'm watching for a sign that shows a 6 as we pass the 140. There's the 6. That was the warning for our 60 kilometer per hour speed limit. We're not even at the 140 yet. So now we have our information saying that we are going to be getting down to 60 by the next signal. I have to treat that signal as a 60 kilometer per hour speed board. So I'm going to drop the speed down in a hurry now that I know this. We are 0.3 of a kilometer away from that signal. So we are closing on it fast. I eased off for a moment. It actually was a little early for easing off, so I'm going to go ahead and put a quick burst on there, get down. We are down in time. But I'm going to try to maintain down there now, so I'm going to drop slightly below that. So remember what I said about timetable allowance? This is what I meant. Because right now our ETA is shown as being, is going to be adjusted to show us arriving a little later than we were supposed to. But the timetable allowance permits us to do that. So we are coming up on Huglfing. Actually, the ETA is not adjusting at all. It's showing our ETA as still being where a time before where we are now. So I think it's it's adjusted our ETA around where we would be if it were not for that 60 kilometer per hour speed board. I think that's what it's trying to do. So we're looking at that ETA as it would be if we were on time. So we are into Huglfing station right now. I'm going to go ahead and just let those brakes fly. I don't recall if there's a building coming up here or not, but we're just going to stop right here. This is good enough. There's a lady waiting right here. We're not quite at her, but she's going to walk over to us, I'm pretty sure. Arrival at Huglfing. And there she comes. Departing Huglfing Platform 2, we are going next to Weilheim, Oberbay, Platform 1, leaving at a 60 kilometer per hour speed limit. We are about 8 3/4 kilometers from our destination. As you see, I quickly pulled the throttle down to idling position and actually do a brake for a moment because I noticed we were getting very close to our speed limit very quickly. We are coming, however, into a 140 kilometer per hour restriction, and I'm going to go ahead and start increasing for that now. Almost a little early. Now, we are going to be theoretically late for our next stop, because as you can see, our stop is for 11:48. It is not possible for us to make the platform at 11:48. Because of the previous 60 kilometer per hour speed restriction, we've been given an additional timing allowance. So as long as we stop, I think it's just shortly after 11:50 at the latest, we're not going to have any issues with our stop being on time. So if this were a standard scenario, you would have that extra timing allowance if you were actually being marked on the stops. Because this is a career scenario, you get the full 100 points in that circumstance, even though you are late. However, I've had to do a little experimentation around that because one time I was on time, another time I lost 8 points. What can you do? So, you have to still be accurate in this section to be able to get the full score. So you can see polling coming up on our screen here. This polling 1. That represents the station that was closed in 1984. 1984, polling station was closed. We're going to be going by the old polling platform 1. There were 2 platforms, it looks like, at this station, and they are still there. So we're going to be going by polling platform 1. We're not going to see them very well in the dark. In the daytime, you will see them a lot better. I need to hit the brakes now because we are going to speed on this downhill if we do not. So I have done that briefly to get back to 137. I'm now increasing to 138 as I come into polling station, the disused polling platform. The downhill has come to a somewhat of an end now, and I'm going to increase my speed so I don't lose too much speed as we go through polling. The track has split, and you can see the station coming up on our sides now. The platform has now ended, and the tracks are going to close back together, as they do at other stations. Can you just imagine the people that have those stations as their private residences, those old stations? There are some of those in the UK, and it's like they have their own concrete backyard they can do whatever they want with. Though I'm sure they're not allowed to use it because it is considered an old train platform. They're probably not allowed to use that area, and given how wide it is, they might get an allowance for part of it, but not for the whole thing, I'm pretty sure. We have to get down to 100 kilometers per hour, so we're going to go ahead and start decreasing quickly before I continue to reminisce on what old station backyards look like. We are down to 100 in time, and no penalties. So we're going to go ahead and keep ourselves just a little bit under 100 at this point, because I came in a little faster than I probably should have, and that means I'm probably doing okay on time at this point. Let's go ahead and put the speed on for a moment. I'm going to prepare to brake as we get within a half a kilometer of the station. So right about now. Let's a little bit slow down, a little bit more now. This is a long platform, so I don't think we're going to have any issue with slowing down on time in the station, even if we did come in fast. But we may have to stop earlier in the station to get our timing. We're going to find out in a moment here. Let's increase the brakes to a 39% application. We should be okay at this point for timing, I would imagine. So I'm going to stop right about here in the middle of the platform. That should be a good enough spot for us to stop. And get the doors open as soon as I can. Right there. Arrival at Weilheim, Oberbay. This instruction is incorrect, so we're going to ignore that. It talks about an express train coming. However, as you can see, we clearly have a green signal up ahead on our track. So we're going to go ahead and proceed for that green signal. It's a green over yellow, so it does limit our speed theoretically coming out of the station. But we are allowed to go 100 kilometers per hour, so I am going to go ahead and ease our way out of the station. It says 60 on the sign. And actually, no, I take that back. It is 60 leaving the station. I'm going to go ahead and ease the throttle back for a moment so we don't speed. And are we still under the 60? We're still under the 60. We passed the 110 sign, but it looks like we are being... Nope, now we can go 110. Took a little while to register, but we are allowed to go 110. So if you're driving by the HUD, you would be speeding on that one. We're going to ease back the throttle now because we are coming up on 110 very quickly, as we do in this train. This thing gets up to speed fast. It's not your average station wagon. Another closed station is coming up here, as you can see on the HUD. We'll explain that in a minute. We're coming to an uphill gradient, so even though I am maintaining speed, I'm going to have to increase throttle now to deal with this uphill gradient. It is another... I believe it's a fairly steep gradient. Right now it's a 1 in 100. Maybe that is actually what it is all the way up. It looks like that is what it is. So 1 in 100 gradient, I meant to say. Now it's increasing. I thought it was steeper than that. So now a 1 in 88 gradient. You can see the distance signal ahead saying that we do have a green at the next signal. We are clear to proceed through that signal. Those distance signals are part of the PZB system. They do have magnets attached to them. And if your train senses one of those magnets, you have to respond to it and slow down immediately. Otherwise, the train will do it for you. The system will make you do it. So there was another distance signal as we went under that green signal. So another distant green. That means at the end of Wilshofen platform, we're going to go ahead and continue through another green signal. This was Wilshofen platform 1 that we're passing through. To our left was platform 2. You can see a building there. That was the old station, I believe, for Wilshofen. It looks like that track could still be used again as a passing loop. So the track has not been lifted. It hasn't become part of the any person living there's backyard yet. It is still a track. That assumes someone is actually living there. We don't know if that is the case. But can you imagine taking a station like that and turning it into your residence? That would be some. That'd be some digs there. So you have a bit of an uphill stretch to go here. There are no signals ahead on the HUD, so I am... Now, granted, there are signals that may occasionally not be marked on the HUD, but I do fully expect at some point we will see a distance signal for something coming up. And at that point, I expect there will be a signal on our HUD a kilometer away anyway. So right now, I'm expecting no critical signals to work with here. It is a single track, so if there was any signals along here, it would be kind of pointless anyway because it is a single track. We're on an uphill gradient. This is a 1 in 121 uphill gradient we're currently on. I'm feathering my speed on the throttle a little bit to accommodate for the uphill gradient so we don't lose too much speed, if any. And also that we don't gain too much speed, if any. There's another crossing, level crossing. There's a automatically controlled crossing. We're coming to the end of our uphill gradient. I'm going to idle the throttle as we get out of that. There is another closed station coming up that is not marked on the HUD, so I'm going to actually check very quickly the information on that for you. That is, make sure I'm not speeding. That is Diemendorf Station coming up. Diemendorf Station also closed in 1984. One of the 3 stations here closed in 1984. I don't know if it's going to be visible in the dark here very well, just like the other 2 stations. It's about 4.1 kilometers away from Tutzing, which is our stop. So right about here. And we're on the downhill gradient now, or coming up on it very quickly, so I'm easing this throttle off a little bit. Saw a couple lights on the side of the track there. That's just a vehicle there. That has nothing to do with me, thankfully. Our downhill gradient is not affecting us as much as I thought it was, so I'm putting some speed back on temporarily. And you can see Tutzing coming up. So, provided we don't have any surprises coming up in our signal speeds here, we should be okay for our stop. Nope, no surprises here. Our arrival time is 11:59, and I don't know if we're still being given a signal allowance, but we're going to find out as we arrive, aren't we? We're going to find out. I'm going to come in going as fast as I can, as fast as I dare go before coming to a stop. And now I'm going to prepare to brake, but we don't necessarily need to brake yet. We're braking anyway, it looks like. We still have a green signal, so we can go beyond the platform, but we will fail if we go beyond the platform. So I'm putting a little bit more of a brake application on now. I'm going to increase that in the station platform. We're going to come to a stop nice and gently at Tutzing. Glay 2 or platform 2. I'm going to go ahead and put the brakes on right now. We should be able to get into the platform cleanly. And full brake, well, not full, but full enough brake application. That should get us to a stop nice and quickly. We should be on time. And everyone will be able to go and get out of the rain. This is the end of our service to Tutzing. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed what you saw here today. As we open the doors at Tutzing, platform 2, let's take one more look at the train as we wrap up. So, with that said, that is the end of our scenario here. I should get the perfect score based on the time I stopped. I think I will get the perfect score here. So I want to say, make sure you, again, like the video, subscribe. I want to wish you a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you at your part of the world. Next time we come in here, we're going to have another scenario. Hopefully not as hard as this one. Where we're going to be heading somewhere else along this map. Most likely through Tutzing, because it's right in the middle of the map. And we're going to have another challenge here to conquer. But I think the challenge for that scenario was the darkness. We had to deal with the darkness. We didn't really have the chance to get our bearings, and because I'd never been there before, it really affected my bearings a little bit myself. So, nice work today getting the train to Tutzing. Let's hope you have an easier shift tomorrow. No kidding. Scenario complete. Technically that was the last scenario, but the doors have now closed. Technically that was the last scenario, but because of the fact that I'm trying to do everything in a sort of a timing order in terms of day, I don't mind where I put it. I'm happy with it. So let's go ahead and get our final score, and I will say see you next time. Again, have a wonderful day, evening, or night. I'll show you the score as we wrap up. Have a wonderful, I'll see you next time, and thank you for watching.